The Philadelphia Eagles cannot pass up on this opportunity, as recent injury concerns over this once highly touted wide receiver prospect has scared off many teams from drafting him. And with Howie Roseman never being afraid of being aggressive, this would be the ultimate draft steal for the Birds. And we'll break down how this affects the Philadelphia Eagles, how it affects Jordyn Tyson, and all the developments around the talented wide receiver out of Arizona State. How's it going, guys? Alex Brooks back here with another episode of Eagles Digest as we really just discuss this Philadelphia Eagles draft plans right now. We're going into this week and talking about the NFL draft, and we had a recent development regarding wide receiver Jordyn Tyson. And, getting right into this episode, as we just got to mention with Jordyn Tyson right now, a very talented wide receiver in his own right. He is supposed to be the second wide receiver off of the board, but we did receive a very concerning update on Jordyn Tyson, as this was from Sleeper NFL on X, saying that he is trending in the wrong direction leading up to the draft. Many scouts remarked that Tyson's hamstring injury and lack of pre-draft workouts could cause him to slide to the back half of the first round. And concerning for a lot of teams that were trying to draft him in the first round, it's not concerning for the GM of the Philadelphia Eagles, Howie Roseman, who is in a wide receiver type of controversy right now with AJ Brown. And if you're thinking right now for the Philadelphia Eagles, if Jordyn Tyson ends up falling to the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, that is going to be a very interesting type of move by Howie Roseman, because it has happened before in NFL drafts in the past. I mean, the Eagles have been getting guys like Nakobe Dean back in 2022. He had a lot of injury concerns, but that was in the third round. For a second round pick, Sidney Jones, that didn't end up working out because he was dealing with that injury and it took him a couple years to really get into a starting role. But Nakobe Dean, he flourished. Sidney Jones didn't. So if you're going over to the first round, if you like, Jordyn Tyson has said that it shouldn't affect him on the field, but hamstring injuries for wide receivers, they can be lingering over a career. So that's something that Howie Roseman, if he is on the board, he would definitely have to, do his homework and make sure that it would be the right selection for the Philadelphia Eagles. I would love it. I would love it. Jordyn Tyson, he's a very talented wide receiver. I know he's dealing with injuries, but if you're able to get that sort of caliber player, and if he's able to, just kind of take a rehab, and if you do have AJ Brown and you have DeVonta Smith for another season, you could have Jordyn Tyson as kind of that heir apparent to AJ Brown if he gets traded the next year. So that wouldn't be a terrible situation if he does go to Philadelphia. And that would be something that Howie Roseman would definitely be interested in, selecting if he ends up being there at pick number 23. But before we get too far into this video is brought to you by our sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app, and it's the best way to get in on all the action regarding live sports. We'll dive deep into some of my picks a little bit later, but make sure you guys use the promo code DIGEST with the link in the description as well as the pinned comment to sign up today, as it really helps this channel out a ton, and it really helps us bring all the content that you guys deserve here on Eagles Digest. But getting more into the conversation about Jordyn Tyson, and this is something that looking at his stats and why it would be very a very good push by the Eagles organization to draft him. It's just, you're looking at his stats. I mean, 158 receptions, 2,282 yards, 14.4 average per catch, and 22 touchdowns. Jordyn Tyson, he was very productive in his time at Arizona State, and he is a very good wide receiver, a potential wide receiver one in any offense. And in a wide receiver class that has Carnell Tate, who is probably the unanimous wide receiver one in this NFL draft, a lot of people view Tyson, before all of this concerns came out, they viewed Tyson as the better wide receiver. Some guys said, or some people said that Jordyn Tyson is the better wide receiver, higher ceiling than Carnell Tate. So if you're able to get if you're Howie Roseman, you've dealt with injury guys in the past. I mean, I mentioned two guys. Didn't even mention the guy last year. Jahad Campbell was dealing with some injuries, and he had to take a little bit to come back, and he was able to have a really good, rookie season with the Philadelphia Eagles. So with Jordyn Tyson, the Eagles are not scared off by these injuries one bit. They're looking at this as house money if they're able to get a caliber player in Jordyn Tyson. And if he brings those types of numbers to Philadelphia, he is going to have a really good reception by the Eagles fans. And knowing that if you have AJ Brown still on the team, well, you as I mentioned before, if Tyson's going to be the wide receiver 3, or if he needs a season to kind of just get back from his injury, that can be a really interesting development if you're looking at drafting a player that you'll have after his rookie season for multiple years. So the potential is there with Jordyn Tyson. And looking at at his injury concerns, just to kind of talk about a little bit more about his injury concerns regarding it, saying that the medical concerns extend beyond the current hamstring strain. He carries an injury history. He suffered a major knee injury, ACL, MCL, and PCL tears during his true freshman season at Colorado. After transferring to Arizona State, he missed the end of a productive 2024 season due to a fractured collarbone. The persistent hamstring issue forced him to miss 4 games during the 2025 season. Soft tissue injuries are notoriously difficult to manage and often linger. Evaluators worry that the lack of recent full speed tape could make teams hesitant to pull the trigger early on draft night. And this is something with wide receivers that has been with any sort of wide receiver. I mean, AJ Brown has had those types of injuries last year, and that kind of left him out for a couple of games, even back to 2024. But we know the caliber of wide receiver AJ Brown is, and if Jordyn Tyson, who was dealing with those injuries, if he goes with this Eagles medical staff, who is notoriously really good at developing the players or helping the players out, he can go and have an impact in any sort of way. It could be a low capacity impact, knowing that you have a lot of wide receivers at your disposal if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. So Jordyn Tyson, this is definitely concerning. Obviously, you're looking at the major knee injury. You definitely don't want to have that if you are a top wide receiver, but it could be a perfect opportunity for Howie Roseman to pull the trigger. I wouldn't be surprised if he does, because he's done this in the past. He has that sort of pedigree, knowing that you can play with house money at this point. I mean, the Eagles have a lot of needs, but if they have a need at wide receiver, which they probably will, Jordyn Tyson could fit that bill perfectly. I mentioned Omar Cooper Jr., mentioned Elijah Surratt, Chris Bell, and a bunch of those wide receivers. But if you're able to get a 1A in this draft at 23, I mean, sign me up every single day of the week. So that is something where we look at Jordyn Tyson as a project type of guy. And we kind of look at his NFL draft combine. I mean, he didn't have any combine drills because he was dealing with that injury, but just based off of what they are projecting him to be, will become a good starter within 2 years. So this is, when you're looking at the total score, he has the best total score amongst wide receivers in this draft class. And with injuries, yes, you have to take him seriously, but if you're able to get a caliber player who has the comp to Keenan Allen, I mean, that is something where you're looking at the future of the Philadelphia Eagles wide receivers. If A.J. Brown's gone, DeVonta Smith and Jordyn Tyson, and then you have Hollywood Brown going as a deep threat. I mean, just that's going to be good eats in Philadelphia, and really good coverage here on Eagles Digest. And before we wrap up this video, let's get into some of the picks brought to you by our sponsor at Prize Picks. Remember, guys, to use the code DIGEST with the link in the description and the pinned comment to sign up. And let's get right into those picks. When we're looking at it, we're going to talk about, because we're talking about Jordyn Tyson, we're going to talk about wide receivers, and we are going to go with some different wide receivers as well as DeVonta Smith. We're going to start off with Ted McMillan. I am taking more on his receiving yards for Tet McMillan because I think he is going to have a 1,000-yard receiving season. Bryce Young, he's looking like he is finally coming to his own as a quarterback. Tet McMillan is going to take the brunt of the receptions, and he's definitely going to have another breakout season after winning the Rookie of the Year, and he's going to build off of that in his second year. So I'm taking more on his receiving yards. Going over to DJ Moore with Buffalo, I am going the opposite direction at less than 749.5 receiving yards because the Bills like to spread the ball around. Even if DJ Moore is going to be the wide receiver one, which I think Bills will probably add another wide receiver, I don't think that DJ Moore is going to have a 1,000-yard season. He is definitely going to have less than 749.5. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about DJ Moore. And then going over to DeVonta Smith, I mean, if all the rumors are true about AJ Brown, even if they aren't true, the Eagles are going to get the ball to DeVonta Smith next year, and he's going to have more than 949.5 receiving yards. Going to probably have another 1,000-yard season for number 6, and it's definitely going to be really good to see DeVonta Smith finally take a wide receiver one role if AJ Brown is traded. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of these picks. And, thank you once again to Prize Picks for sponsoring this video. And, before we really wrap this up, wanted to talk about the Jordyn Tyson pros and cons for you guys. This was from Stick to the Model at X, saying that the case for Jordyn Tyson: he's the above the rim specialist, 67% catch rate, elite route running with advanced release, 14.4 yards per reception in his career. When you're looking at the case against: injury history, struggles with press coverage, and poor run blocker. Now, you're looking at wide receivers who struggle with press coverage. If you're getting into a room with DeVonta Smith and AJ Brown, you can definitely improve with that, and also with Hollywood Brown can teach you those as well. Injury history, yes, that is something of a concern, but if he is able to go and have a good rehab going into the 2026 season, I'm confident that the Eagles will get the most out of him. And poor run blocking, that is a big concern when you're on the Philadelphia Eagles, but I'm definitely hoping that the coaches are able to coach him up when it comes to run blocking. But that is going to do it for another edition of Eagles Digest. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about Jordyn Tyson and everything that I talked about in this episode. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on everything regarding the Philadelphia Eagles. And as always, let's go Birds.